The MoneroTopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys.
All right. What's going on, man? You made it. You jumped on.
It. How's it going? It's good to see you again. So I have a tech demo that I want to show. Can you I have the screen share down there. And so to preface first, this is a joke. This is a joke, guys, but it is not funny. Okay, it's not funny, this joke. I get the satire of me having connected a Monero to the AI, right? The glowies are just, their eyes are lighting up. But this is why I wanted to show you guys this, because once I started playing with this, the social implications here are humongous. So I own a Web 2 hosting platform.
Yeah, John, give a quick background of yourself.
Sure.
Yeah, before we jump into it all.
So I'm a Python web developer. I've been a transhumanist and a Terrence McKenna fan since I was like 15 or 16, right? My whole life has been dedicated to tech and this kind of stuff. I've been a follower of Monero for a long time, and a philosopher, right? I'm Greek traditionally; it's my heritage. So I like to think it's in my blood. I like to think that, yeah. So I wanted to show the tech demo and then get into some deeper stuff. But I was working on this MCP. So about a month ago, I watched another YouTuber, and they were talking about MCP servers being like the new API that we're all going to have to conform to. And I'm like, okay. And I was actually in Alaska hanging out with Alaskanon. While I was up there, I was working on another project, and I've integrated all of that into their logistics. So I've got the AI in their logistics. And I was like thinking of new projects. I was like, okay, what's the next fun one? I'm like, oh, crypto. And so I vibe coded in like a day using the Cake Wallet. Shout out Cake Wallet. I use their API. This is just an API wrapper, what I'm about to show you guys. So I didn't even write the back end. Why would I write the back end? It's just, and all this, of course, is open source. But let me go ahead and mess with it real quick, and then we could talk about some of the implications.
Yeah.
So we could talk to it. We understand how LLMs, I don't have to say, oh, we can talk in English and it generates text. We all understand that. The cool thing about MCP is it's going to start generating API calls for us. And then it is a protocol for the API backend to generate responses for the LLM. That's what MCP is. The C is the context. You know how you like to gaslight and lie to your AI girlfriend, that special kawaii experience? That's the context, right? We understand that if we prompt the AI, we'll get different results. It's model context protocol. The C is context. And the whole idea is that the thing is this is almost magic. Once you set up a simple manifest system and you give the LLMs access to the backend tooling, I didn't have to explain anything else about how wallets work. It just worked. Now, what does this have to do with Monero? I'll get there. I see this being more important clearly for blockchain analysis of other kinds of things, right? For other chains. But now this is a new persistent threat for you guys to think of as well. This agentic persistent threats that are constantly going to be looking at multiple stacks of MCP server. I can tie in one MCP server into this context. I can tie in many MCP servers into this context. And then if I upgrade my model to a better model, it can do more evil. So this is a new persistent threat for us. That's just a note. Another interesting thing is these MCP servers are about to replace just about everybody in the beta cuck layer of society, bro. Like everybody's either going to be digging ditches or they're going to be the guys that make it to MoneroTopia and get the hats. They're true creatives. Society's about to be split into two because I can tie up one of these MCP servers. I can look at the SOP and behavior of your organization, your company. That's what I was up there doing with the truckers. Like they brought me up there to look at who does what, what's their role. Okay, how can I fit their role into a traditional database? How do I tie that traditional database into MCP context? So there's about to be a huge impact to the economics of work because this is disruptive as hell. I live here in San Diego now, and I go to all the local little tech coffees, and I've been giving talks on this MCP protocol. People are impressed. Everybody's going to be converting to this where agentic AIs do most of our work, right? And if you can see here, I was asking it things like, what's the latest block on Monero? and it's able to rationalize these kind of things. Now, I kind of want to have a call to the Monero community to think about these things, to be aware that agentic MCP contextual robots with layers are going to be analyzing all of us, and they're going to be replacing away a lot we think. Now, let's get into some of the deeper weeds if we can. I think this is going to change society. I'm a fan of the Dune universe, right? I haven't watched the new movies. I'm an old school fan. I've read all the books, including the book with the big worm god, right? Duke Leto the Second, and he acts as this kind of Occam's razor, a razor through where he's always molding humans. He's like we like reached our peak evolution in creating it, him, this object, and he's always watching us. And through evolutionary time, he creates all these genetic Duncan Idahos, and he's like messing with our genome. The AI is going to become that. It's like an invisible authority already. Like when I ask questions, and it's funny because it's all pervasive. It's both political right and political left thinkers are defaulting to this like invisible God, and whether we like it or not, I can see like we have extreme privacy people in this community. Whether you like it or not, this raises the bar for how much effort you're expected to put out as like if you're going to participate in society and work a job of any kind, this is raising the bar every day. And if you don't jump on board, it's going to be like using type or even not being able to conform to crypto. When I ask questions of the AI, I want to make sure that I have proper representation in its answers. Like I want it to say the right things about privacy tech and Monero. I was up arguing with GPT this morning about like the protests in London. And I personally, I'm a political right-leaning person, but as a younger person, I was extreme political left. I've had a flip in my life because of personal tragedy. And I see this as a huge energy in society. It's moving society to these very radical extremes. And crypto is one of the things that can bring it back. It's actually it binds us together in a way other things don't have the capacity to do it. But these extremes are going to dictate the Web3 technologies of monitoring, recording. What's up with all you might see behind me? That's one of the California lights that has the AI in it, right? You see it right there? That light behind me is one of the flock lights. They're all over in San Diego. All of them are. So our society is going to have to deal with this. We're going to have to deal with it as like a group. We're going to vote on it.
What are those lights? What are the lights?
All of the parking lights in San Diego have like it has like a green little LED that'll blink, has a camera. They're like all of them, and that's just at the community center in my house. But all of them are. There's a few of them up there. What I'm like, we have these automated cameras, the flock cameras. We're gonna have AI, agentic, persistent threats in our lives, even if we don't vote to choose. Like we're not going to choose. We don't choose. It's happening now. So the awareness, our comprehension of them, and the demand that we demand from our social actors, in like our politicians, our authority figures. Do you see what I'm saying? It's kind of like this kind of loop. It's a hidden, silent authority. It's pushing, and it's also we have to be aware of it and push from the other end to demand freedom from our authority figures. So why Monero? Why does Monero? To me, I have this kind of vision that I've seen where it's good that some things will be tracked. Like, what if one of those was on Jeffrey Epstein's plane? That would be tight. We kind of want to track some people in society. We want oversight on some people. That would solve a lot of the extremes between the right and the left. When I'm arguing with my political friends, we have these extreme disagreements. Like a lot of the times we're arguing about the same class of people, but like how do we deal with them? I think some parts of the surveillance society are good. I think some parts of the surveillance society are bad. I believe the surveillance society is it's here. We're balls deep in it. It's here. So the idea is things like Monero are a release valve. You ever operate like a propane grill? The most complicated thing on the propane grill isn't what shoots the gas out. It's what stops the gas. It's the regulator valve, right? Monero acts in society as this safety release. I can only cause so much trouble with Monero because the market, everything we just spent watching Body for the last 20 minutes talk about, it has these marketational forces that are kind of like, no, you can only be so bad because it's expensive. Monero has a certain, because of the way everybody is worked so hard on it's Cyberpunk 27. I was reading the private chat. It's 100% where we're going. Yeah, because everybody's worked so hard to create this very strong, mathematically perfect or near perfect idea of democracy representation. We're fighting the mining problem right now. It's not an unlimited abuse vector. Right now, our current political systems, our current authorities have unlimited abuse vectors. You get Jeffrey Epstein's, you get all these really crazy kind of, all the Illuminati conspiracies. I'm a Mason, none of that stuff's real. But there are people who do real things that abuse people and all that kind of stuff. So we have social structures. We want to keep certain social structures. We need to have some social control mechanism, but we want to have a safe way to blow off steam from time to time. Maybe I want to do some crime, but I can only do so much trouble with Monero because the market stops me. Does that make sense? Does that's basically the pitch. I could probably pick out little parts here and there, but I see it's super important that we become aware of AI, that we start interfacing with AI, and that we start thinking of privacy as a spectrum and not just a binary, I want to be put completely private and nobody ever knows me, but we choose when we want to give up certain pieces of it so that we can work as a community.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, AI is obviously here to stay, right? Like the internet itself or any other breakthrough technology, and AI is gonna, like you said, it's sucking everybody in, right? Mm-hmm. Whether you like it or not, it's gonna be like walking around without a cell phone, right? Like everybody is going to have to be reliant on AI, otherwise they're not, they can't participate in society essentially.
Right.
Obviously, there's those that will be extremists that will try to completely opt out, but it's going to be a tough life. It's going to be a rough life, and so, yeah, where Monero comes in, like you're saying, is that's kind of our safety outlet. It's a way to, as I always describe it, is to preserve our liberty in the digital age. So even as we're living among AI, with and all this surveillance that's going on, we'll still at least have a way to communicate value anonymously, and that will give us a lot of freedom in the digital realm. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be one of the tools, probably one of the best and most important tools that we'll have for attempting to have some semblance of liberty in this new age of AI, total surveillance.
It's a kind of superhero that we rally around, and that's why I think it's important. Yes. It gives you the platform weekly. It gives every one of your guests. It's allowed me to be like, hey guys, come check this out. So it's like a superhero which rallies us around it. It teaches us that we should be more mindful of our purchases. Since MoneroTopia, that I went to Mexico and I had a lot of experiences, I bought Monero for pesos, right? I got to do that whole thing. I've told people that story. It blows their minds. It's changed my outlook on spending. And like, I often will have conversations with people like, it's funny that we take houses and we take a house and we'll give it a monetary value in dinero, right? In fiat. We're like, oh, it's worth $800,000. It's worth blah, 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 blah. It's almost like you're saying I could buy a house for enough cheeseburgers. But if you've been homeless, it doesn't fucking matter how many cheeseburgers you got. There's a value beyond value. And when we look at just the numbers, we tend to get lost. Monero has an intrinsic value that is larger than just fiat. And fiat also has uses and values that us in the community, or if we play with these ideas, tend to get a little too, like I think fiat and Monero should coexist, because fiat comes as a system. It's like the United States backs it, right? It's a nation. I like visiting to the United States sometimes, but sometimes I want to leave. I should have another nation I could go to. And I see Monero as a nation, actually. We've talked about this, Doug. Like, it's like backpack, exchange, and I see Monero is like all the international playboys we met at the VIP.
It's a network state. It's a
yeah.
Monero is one of the first network states, right? For sure, right? It's going to be that digital island that people can live on. Back to what you're kind of proposing here. Obviously, you're coming here telling like Monero people should be starting to think about these things, right? Like how do we work with AI so that we can create versions of it or tools that will allow us to keep our liberty while it's in the midst
Correct.
of
And
it,
it's brand
right?
new.
So
So if you think about the internet at the beginning, right? ARPANET, it was owned by the military and schools. It took like 10, 20 years of people to be aware of it, hacking on it, wanting to build their own. AI is in that phase now where the largest and most capable models are held in a monopoly behind like NVIDIA hardware. And if we want to change that, we need to build those systems. You can build hardware. I was watching a YouTube video where they were building using just like LEDs and stuff. And of course, these are very basic neurons, but there are whole new classes of electronics that need to be invented and created. And then think of like things like what's it called? The Nodo hardware. Man, what an amazing project that has been. What if a similar project in the privacy space started to arise for like AI hardware open source? So there's like so much, like we need all hands on deck. We need everybody in here now. There's so much that needs to be built out in this space to make sure that we can be competitive with the top down models, or we're cooked.
right.
It's just that simple. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Nano GPT, they're doing really interesting things. I don't know if you're familiar with them. That's a way to basically use AI anonymously, paying with Monero and other cryptos, but ideally with Monero, because then you're really using it anonymously. You can query the AI. It doesn't know who you are. It doesn't know that you're, it can't track your payments, see where your payments are coming from, so you could like truly anonymously interact with AI. That's an important thing. That was a tool that I got very excited about when I first used AI. I was like, that was one of the first thoughts, right? Like this is, oh wow, we could do this now with Monero, where you and Nano GPT is doing it. Very cool. I don't know, Shortwave, you want to chime in?
Yeah, another useful thing about Nano GPT is the fact that it has a toggle for using open source models only. So that's what I'll use. I don't want to use
and you can jump to all the different models, which is very cool. So like you could easily use different models that are all kind of brought into one spot, as opposed to just using ChatGPT. But John, what are some of the ideas that you're thinking then with regards to like this tool here that you built, that you quickly vibe hacked together? What are some of the things, like I think wow, wouldn't it be great if there was an XMR Bazaar chatbot, right? Where I want to buy that. I'm just, so rather than me like going through the process of shopping, like I'm talking to the bot, it's finding everything I need, and it's like doing the deal for me.
There's a lot of
just
things
saying send Monero here.
Language too, like when you're wanting to buy something, and it can look at the data and make conclusions you didn't. So like something like we could probably write the MCP server for that. Like what? If you send me the link, I'll write your MCP server for that for XMR Bazaar. That would be fantastic.
Where it'd be pulling in the data from XMR Bazaar, so you could essentially query
you have
and
a JSON
search.
API, right? If you have a JSON API, you can write it's like trivial to write. All the MCP server is effectively
that's fantastic.
a JSON wrapper with some context. Like it's like a text document that says this is how to use this endpoint. That's all MCP is. That's why it's really brilliant. And then the LLMs have like all the genius baked in. And so if there's it's fantastic. There's already
I would love if it could basically act as like a concierge on XMR Bazaar, right? Where you could be like, I'm looking to do that, right? So it saves all the trouble of having to sort through things, and it could even at the end just be like, okay, well, how can I help you? All right, you want to get this? Okay, how much? All right, so send Monero to this address, and
and it works for all the roles in an organization too, because it can post and read. So like if I'm the seller, I can use it as a seller tool to be like, hey, I've got all these items, and imagine I've got my phone, I'm taking pictures, I've got the items, I'm posting to XMR Bazaar. Now, of course, glowy normal clown world is going to be chasing us to this shit. I get all that, and there's going to be all these caveats and privacy places where we have to be careful. Every time I say some of these things, don't think that I'm not aware of those things, guys. Don't think I'm stupid, guys. I'm not stupid. I get it. But it is possible. You just mentioned a company that takes Monero, is capable of generating tokens. If we could work with them to get the agentic part, their MCP client has to work, and then we could set up an MCP server on XMR Bazaar. This would take less than 2 weeks. This is actually all very available. It's not that crazy. And once you set that up, it becomes much easier for the normie to bootstrap. You're like, hey, look, yeah, mine's already talking to me, dude. What are you even talking about? There's a book called what's it called? It's by GM Moore. It's a book about Inside the Tornado, and it's about technological adaptation and how to become rich being a tech bro. And as a tech bro who wants to become ultra rich, it's something I've been obsessed with. It's this concept that people are like a herd mentality, and you'll see the herd will stick over here, and we'll see a few animals of the herd will go to a new pasture, and there's something just genetically weird about them, us. We walked over to the new pasture. Now there'll be a point where more animals are like, they're genetically to be like, oh, look, there's enough animals over there. It's safe.
Right.
And then everything goes.
It's like ants following their pheromones, right?
Yeah.
You know, you have the ants that drift off.
Yes.
And then they may randomly bump into whatever, some sugar.
Yep.
Now they're going, and the next thing you know, all the ants are rushing away.
They're all over there. So that's that tornado event. I think Monero's had a few of these events, but privacy tech as general hasn't captured the mainstream imagination yet in a big way. Once it does, it will become the status quo because it has to. It's going to be what solves our problem between the right-left politics just ripping the world apart. It's the only solution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of like AI oriented ideas with regards to things that can be done in the Monero space, just making things easier for normies, right?
Yeah.
We always talk about making Monero more user friendly. I really think that's where AI can come in. Now, how do you do this in a privacy preserving way where we're not giving all this data to our overlords and then they're using it against us? That's the tricky part, right? That's the tricky part. That's like where Shortwave is saying is make sure we're using these open source things. Obviously, ideally, you're running your own server, right, with the AI on it.
Yes. That's why I publish the MCP tools as open source, is I want people to start building them out. If the more we publish into the public domain as an Apache license, as a GPL, like any of your flavors, the more we're doing that, for one, we're actually building wealth for other people. I've built every bit of fiat, all of the evil, greedy money I've ever made in my whole life, I got from the open source community by building so for one, we're building wealth for everybody. That's good. For two, it's fighting the systems of control, and it's just increasing general knowledge. Think of when we were down there trying to buy and haggle shoes with the little abuelas, right? If it talked in their natural language to them, and it talks to me in my natural language to me, and we do our thing, we part our separate ways, that's perfect. I feel like all of the pieces are on the table. We just have to maybe we have to get together like an Apache Foundation, like maybe there has to be a software foundation or something, some organizational, and then we get that representation within the legal framework. You know, a 501c is a legal entity. I'm just saying, these are ideas, right?
A lot of ideas. We should definitely talk offline too, especially maybe with something with the XMR Bazaar chatbot, because it was on our to-do list. Got a couple of ideas in that realm, and then even just for purposes of onboarding people to Monero itself. When we did MoneroTopia last year, I'm onboarding all the vendors weeks and days up to the event. I was basically communicating with them on WhatsApp. I had them all in a WhatsApp group, and then individually talking with each one of them, onboarding them. That should be all automated. I was using ChatGPT to do the conversations, and it was great because ChatGPT, I got to the point where I was just like, yo, here's a new guy, here's his message, because they were sending me their messages in Spanish, hey, Doug, I know you're, I'm looking to participate in this, but not knowing anything about Monero, anything. They just know that there's this thing, that there's this opportunity. The woman who runs
Signal CLI wrapped around an OLAMA backend.
Yeah,
we could do that.
And I was just copying and pasting their message into ChatGPT, and at that point, it had already known everything I was trying to do with the event, and it was just generating responses and onboarding them.
And you could wrap that whole thing to a discourse server or some other. Like you could have a forum in a regular Web 2 world, and then have that wrap an MCP server, and then forward. Or there's so many. There's a lot of cool ideas there. Yeah. And like I said, every time we do this, we're generating wealth. Monero itself has generated wealth for so many people. That's really important. because if we don't generate wealth for each other, we can't feed each other, and then of course they win. We're already slaves. Doesn't matter. We have no free will. So yeah, definitely hit me up. I gotta actually head out. I do want you to, and it's if I'm allowed to drop all of the name drops. It's Monero.
Yes. Shill your stuff. Go ahead.
For the open source MCP server written in Django that I showed you guys today. That's monerostack.decline.net, D3CLINE.net. My name is John Spounias, and you can find my link tree and all of my stuff. And then my major business is opalstack.com, and we're a traditional managed web hosting company, but we're independently owned. We won't do any weird shit with your data. We care obviously about this space, and I dedicate a lot of our time, effort, money to building out technologies like this. So if you could support us, that would be fantastic.
And you're a friend of Alaska Anon, right? So if
more than just a friend, I'm afraid.
If anything gives
contracts together, I've done a lot of dirty with
okay, if anything gives you credibility, I would say that's
it. Of course, yes. Infamous is famous here, of course. Yes. I love you all.
Any chance we see you at the next MoneroTopia in February?
I've been trying to get everybody to go. I'm trying to get my co-founder to come with me, who's a major Monero enthusiast, Chinese American, has used it for some interesting trial. I'm trying to get the rest of the company to come with me. Hopefully they do. I would love to. If not, then my soul will be there. Is it going to be in Mexico again?
Yeah, same place, same venue in February.
Yes. Yeah, I'll be there.
Yep.
All
awesome.
Right. Love you guys. See ya. Have a good one.
Thank you so much. That was great. Thank you, John. We'll be in touch.